Salam, welcome back. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to put out a video last week, but we're back now. So, on to the Fairy Caravan by Beatrix Potter, Chapter 17. The smithy was all aglow with a roaring fire on the hearth. Sparks were flying. Hot firelight flickered on the rafters overhead. It shone upon a crowd of dogs and horses and upon the gypsy's donkey, Cuddy Simpson, who was dozing in a corner. His head drooped. He rested a strained fetlock wearily. Dogs barked. Horses stamped. There was even the merry fiddle-twiddle of a fiddle, to which the collies, Meg and Fly and Glen, warbled a treble chorus. And through all the din sounded the tap, tap, tap of Metal's little hammer on the anvil, and the creaking of the bellows that another dog was blowing. The dog was Eddie Tinker, the gypsy lurcher, and the handhold of the bellows was made of a polished ox horn. "Welcome, Pony Billy, but wait for Cuddy Simpson. He has cast a fall shoe, and he is lame and weary. Wait till I fit him with fairy shoes that will make him as lish as new legs. That's why the donkeys never die. They know the road to the fairy smithy." "I can wait," said Pony Billy, who was fond of Cuddy Simpson. Creak, creak went the bellows, keeping time to the tune of Black Nag. Louder still barked the dogs, and the horses stamped on the floor. They talked of the good old days, when roads were made for horses. None of this tarry asphalt, like a level river of glass. None of this treacherous granite, where we toil and slip and stumble, dragged backwards by our loads. None of these hooting lorries that force us against a wall, shrieking, oily, smelly monsters. And everybody has one, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, even the fisherman and the farmer. Where are the patient horses? Where is butcher's Ginger, and fish-cart Fanny, and baker's Tommy? Where is the hog-maned mare with the shrapnel marks? Gone, gone, all gone to Oxo. I, Queenie Cross, I, poor old mare, and the last nag left in a huckster's cart. But happen you like them, Metal, you that work amongst iron and nails and bolts?" "I like them?" snarled Metal, banging the hammer on the anvil. "I like those snorting juggernauts? I hate them as much as you do, old queen. They run over us dogs. They lame our cattle, they kill our sheep." Ragman and Roy growled low. "Think of the noble horses in the grand old days of a road. Who needed a starting handle? Who required a wind-up, a thoroughbred? Breed, give me breed," barked Metal. "Will Tom's team in the Coniston coach for me. Now it's rattle, rumble, rattle, rattle, shriek, shriek, shriek. Gone are the pleasant jog-trots, days of peace. They have ruined the smithies and stolen the roads. Shame upon the big folks," said Metal, banging on the anvil. "Even Mistress Heelis, her that was so fond of ponies. Serve her right to lose her clog." "Where did she lose it, Metal?" "Nay, that is a mystery. It seemed to have clog-danced right away and back. It came home by Hawkshead, and it had been to Greythwaite. As to the how," here Metal interrupted his story to throw a shovelful of small coal onto the hearth, "as to the how she came to lose it, it was this away. She had been on a long, long journey in one of these 'ere rattle-traps. And when she got home and unpacked her luggage, she left her clogs upon the shelf." "What shelf was that, Metal?" "What the big folk that ride in motors call a footboard. Quite appropriate for clogs. When the car went forth next morning, there sat the pair of clogs, still upon the footboard. They looked proud." "One thing surprises me," interrupted White Collie Fan. "Does Mistress Heelis really ever take off her clogs? I thought you went to bed in them." "They were off that day, sure," said Metal, leaning on the bellow handles. "I saw them pass the smithy. They grinned at me, their buckles winked. But when the car came home in the afternoon, there was only one clog on the footboard. sitting by itself. The other had fallen off. Which foot clog was it, Metal? Her best foot that she put foremost. She was sad. She inquired all over for her right foot clog, and she put a notice, lost a clog, in the window of a village shop. The clog came home again after a while. My word, it had seen some fun. Now it happened this way, continued Metal, turning the donkey shoe in the tongs and blowing white flame through the small coal. It happened this way. The cart took the bumpy road through the wood by Ely's Bridge. The clogs joggled on the footboard, joggled and giggled and nudged each other with their elbows. Until, bump, 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 over a rise of the road, they came in sight of Joshy Campbell's tin can dinner box and his big green gingham umbrella. Joshy was an old man with a reddish-grey beard who tidied the sides of the road. Always took out with him his tin can dinner box and his great big bunchy umbrella. I never saw him use his umbrella. He carried it always rolled up to keep it out of the rain. All day, while Joshy worked, the umbrella sat by the dyke, bolt upright and serious with a long, curved, hooky nose. It snuggled up beside it, sat the dumpy tin can dinner box. When the clog saw the umbrella, they bounced up with a shout, whoop. The left foot clog bounced back upon the board and continued to joyride, but the right foot clog bounced right off. It bounced onto the road and ran back, 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 back to old Joshy Campbell's umbrella. The umbrella made a bow and stepped out of a ditch. The dinner box made a bob, the clog made a gambol, and away down the road they all ran, hoppity-hop, without ever a stop, stoppity-stop, or the slightest consideration for old Joshy Campbell. They ran and they ran and they hopped and they hopped. For a mile or two they ran, and it was night before they stopped. Metal drew the coal over the donkey shoe with a little coal rake and plied the bellows. Where did they hop to and stop at, Metal? They hopped as far as the middle of the great wood. It was darkish, but they could see to follow the woodland track. For a long, long way they followed it, winding amongst the bushes, until at length before them, in the distance, they saw a pool of light. It was silvery, like moonlight, and it was always streaming upwards, up from the ground, not downwards, like the sky above. The shining space was level, like the floor of a great pitstead. It shone like a moonlit mare. And on that shining floor were dancers. Strange dancers they were. Hundreds of flimmy, glittering dancers, dancing to silvery music, thousands of tinkling, echoing murmurs from silver twigs and weathered leaves. And still from the dance floor a white light streamed, and showed the dancing shoes that danced thereon alone. They tell me that in France there is a palace, a fairy palace, and in that court, long, mournful and deserted, there is a hall of lost footsteps, the Salle des Pas Perdus, where ghosts dance at night. But this dance amongst the oak woods was a dance of joyous memories. If no feet were in the foot gear, the shoes but danced more lightly. And what shoes were not there? Shoes of fact and fable. Queen amongst the dancers was a tiny glass slipper, footing it, in minuet and stately gavotte. She danced with a cavalier boot, a high boot with brown leather tops. Step it, high boot, step it, little grass slipper. Chimes we call you at midnight. Cinderella's carriage stops the way. Room for the Marquise, the Grand Marquise of Carabas, make way for Puss in Boots. These two danced one and one, but beside them danced a pair, Goody Two-Shoes, little red slippers. How they did jet it, in and out, and round about them danced other shoes dancing in hundreds, broad shoes of slashed cloth, long-toed shoes with bells that danced the milkmaid's Morris, broad-toed shoes and high-heeled shoes, jack-boots and buckled shoes and shoes of Spanish leather, and pumps and satin sandals that jiggled in and out together. And round about them, clump, 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 danced Mistress Helis's clog dancing like a good one, with Joshy Campbell's dinner box, the tall green gingham umbrella. Only those two were different. All the other dancers were shoes, and the main of them were horseshoes, shoes of all the brave horses that ever were shod in the good old days of the road. There were little shoes of Galloways, light shoes of thoroughbreds, great shoes of Clydesdales, and the biggest were the waggoners. On they came galloping. Hallahoo, hallahoo! Brill the foxhound lifted up her voice. Ha halloo, ha halloo! Galloping, galloping, black nag come galloping, hark to the timber waggons. Thundering down the drift road, shouted Metal, banging on the anvil. Hark the ringing music of the horseshoes. Here's tap, tap, tappity, trot, trot, trod. Sing Dolly's little shoes on the hard, high road. Sing Quaker's daisies, sober pace. Sing high-stepping Peter for stately grace. Phoebe and Blossom sing softly and low, dear dead horses of long ago. Jerry and Snowdrop, Black Jet and Brown, Tom and Cassandra, the prize of the town. Bobby and Billy Gray, Gypsy and Nell, bony ponies than I can tell. Prince and Lady, Mabel and Pet, rare old Diamond and Lofty and Bet. Now for the waggoners, hark to the trampling of the waggoners, shouted Metal, banging on the anvil. Here's Dick, Duke, Sally, and Captain True, wisest of horses that ever wore a shoe, shaking the road from the ditch to the crown, where the thundering, lumbering lot comes down. Ah, good old days, ah, brave old horses, sing louder, good dogs, barked Metal. Sing, Pony Billy, sing up, old Queenie, thou last of the nags. Sing the right words, dogs. None of that twaddle. Now sing all together. Keep time to the bellows. Dyke and John Peel with his coats of grey, Dyke and John Peel at the break of day, Dyke and John Peel when he's far, far away, with his hounds and his horn in the morning. 'Twas the sound of his horn called me from my bed, and the cry of his hounds has me oft times led. For Peel's view, hallo, would waken the dead, or a fox from his lair in the morning. Louder and merrier rose the hunting chorus, floating round the rafters with the eddying smoke from the forge, till the big folk that slept up above in Anvil Cottage turned on their feather beds and dreamed that they were fox hunting. Danke. Thank you for coming today. Hopefully we'll get the next chapter out next week. See you then. Auf Wiedersehen.